I turned my apartment into an interactive puzzle room for my friends to play. And no, not that kind of puzzle room. It's a cute and cozy game that's somewhere between an escape room, a hidden object game, and a little mystery game, sort of like Gone Home or What Remains of Edith Finch. I'm Carol Mertz. I'm an indie game designer, and I've been spending the last few months working on projects that are free and experimental and just helping me reconnect with my creativity and my passion for game design. So naturally, I made a game that exists only inside my home that only my closest friends can play. That said, if we are friends in real life and you think that there is any chance that you are ever going to come visit me and play this game, stop watching. This video is going to walk through the gameplay and the development of the whole experience, so it's going to be packed full of spoilers. It really doesn't matter for most folks because, generally speaking, most people watching this are never going to get the chance to play. I hope, and that's okay. So, to my close friends, I love you, but turn off the video. Text me, let's figure out a time for you to come over and play. Then you can come back and watch the video after you've played. But go on, turn it off. Go watch a video essay about speedrunning or something, you sweet little nerds. All right, so now all my friends are gone, so it's just you and me, stranger. So like I said before, Dear Diary is a colorful puzzle room that's designed just for my friends to play. The idea started because I got a little hyper-fixated on smart home technology when I installed a Home Assistant server in my apartment. And for those uninitiated, Home Assistant is a free open source software that prioritizes like privacy and security and extensibility. And so I had a lot of fun playing with it when it came to putting smart technology into my home. This isn't an ad, I promise. I just really like it. It's been fun to play with. So as I was playing around with it and adding more fun things to my smart home, I started to think about like, I'm a game designer. I can come up with something cool to do with all this stuff. I can do something playful and experiential. And so I started by making a joke about it. And then like so many of my other projects, that joke became an actual game. So because that technology was the catalyst for my design flowchart started with the ending first. I was thinking about all the ways that I could use the technology to reveal clues and offer hints and do all this weird and interesting stuff. But that actually left me feeling a little stuck for a couple of days because I wasn't working with an interesting or compelling narrative to drive the design. I was just working basically from the ending first and trying to figure out what would fit into that. But then as I was looking at my bookshelf where I kind of already planned to keep all of my clues centered anyway, I started noticing the fact that this bookshelf had collected memories and projects and things that were important to me over the years. Like it's just packed full of stuff that I've made and stuff that I'm proud of and stuff that I love. And these things have all inspired me over the years, so I let them inspire me for this project. It almost feels like a little window into my creative soul in a super corny sort of way, but like that's just, you know, how I feel, man. So from there, a narrative sort of started to pull together really nicely. I wanted to keep everything feeling really integrated into the bookshelf and not change anything and not move anything and not buy a whole lot of new stuff for it. So I just kind of kept everything in its place for the most part. All I really bought for the game was the final treasure box, which I found at the dollar store and decorated myself. I also bought a bunch of locks and latches and things like that that people have come to expect from an escape room. That way I was able to create all of these puzzles with the stuff that I already had. The colored locks inspired me to have a different color tied to each of the final combination codes. And to help make it a little bit more accessible and colorblind friendly, I associated each color with a star sticker that I cut off points of to modify and make into different shapes unique to each color. These are displayed in order both on the lock itself as well as on the diary that the game centers around. So I kick off the game by telling the friend who's playing that I found this old diary in a locked box while I was cleaning up my bookshelf and that I can't make sense of what's in it, but if they agree to help me, which they better, they open up the diary to find a page that asks them to connect to my Wi-Fi, then scan an NFC tag or QR code to start the game. That changes the state of my apartment into puzzle mode. That makes the lights an absolute vibe and lets their phone trigger all of the automations hidden throughout the game. The first page of the diary sets the scene a little. This diary holds many secrets of my creativity and favorite memories. I hope if I ever lose inspiration, I can figure out how to unlock those memories again. Then the second page has the rules. Rules to live by. My bookshelf is everything. I put stuff where I can see it so I don't have to open doors or go digging for things. I put stuff back where I found it, especially if I don't need it right now. I don't break stuff. That one's important. When I need help, I ask for it. Have fun. And okay, yes, it might sound a little intense to outline all these rules like this, but I am pretty particular about my stuff. And even though I was really excited to spotlight some of my favorite things and turn them into game components, I was also pretty worried about having my friends rummaging through all my stuff for this. So I designed these rules both to sort of help set their expectations and help keep folks on the right path, but also give them an idea of my expectations for how they should treat my things while they're playing. So far, everyone's been super respectful and pretty cautious, and most have erred toward being a little too cautious maybe and have prevented them from exploring. But I'm not really complaining about that because we're playing with things that mean a lot to me, so I think that compromise is okay, mostly.
I'd rather rule. Oh god, it's broken. Our ability to... Oh, I broke that.
Other than the intro and the rules, the only page left in the diary is the trailhead clue that gets you started in the game. When I was little, I used to love Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. I even had a themed birthday party with them. If there's anything I can be sure of, it's that if there's a mystery, those best buds are on the case. Even if it sometimes seems like they question each other, Chip and Dale will always point you toward any clues they've dug up. After that, there's just a whole bunch of torn out pages showing how many diary entries they're ultimately looking to find. I designed this first clue to be a little bit like a tutorial for the whole thing. I like to start players out with a little momentum and give them an easy first accomplishment so that they feel good getting started. It also introduces the mechanics of the game, so the idea that you're looking for diary pages to give you clues to find keys and locks and codes for the combination lock. The clue points you toward Chip and Dale, who are on the bookshelf, each pointing toward a different part of the first clue. One is pointing to a locked Mario question block, which is usually easier to find since the clue points to a question, and an Animal Crossing fossil, which actually holds the key to the locked question block. I had to do a little tweaking to make it obvious that the fossil was part of that first puzzle. Eventually, I landed on tying a little ribbon around the lock and including a matching ribbon tail sticking out of the fossil to show a connection and make it really clear that there was something inside. The question block was super fun to turn into a little treasure chest. It was originally part of a special edition copy of Mario Yahtzee that I had but never played, so I hot glued a hasp latch onto it and added little foam hinges and lining to the inside to make it lockable. It worked out super well, and I'm so proud of how it turned out. Once it's opened, you find a pink key, a Rubik's Cube, and a diary page inside the question block. And for what it's worth, I know that Rubik's Cubes and other complex puzzles like them are notorious for being terrible escape room clues, and this is because the barrier for entry is so high and they're so hard to solve. I intentionally subverted that though, and I made it easy for players by keeping the puzzle solution attached to an entire row at once, so all they have to do is rotate each layer 90 degrees to get the complete image to scan. Even though several people saw it and seemed maybe a little daunted, they realized pretty quickly that it was mostly solved already, so no one had any issue twisting the solution into place. Once they solve the cube and scan the QR code, it reveals the yellow combination code from their phone. The bookshelf flashes yellow 3 times, and on their phone, they see a little HTML page that I made that calls the webhook for the automation and shows the text "Yellow code discovered" with an image of a tarot card, the 3 of swords in reverse. The code is 3. 1 down, 3 to go. The diary page that's inside the question block is the second clue for the puzzle. It says, "As a child, Rubik's Cubes always confounded me. I thought only geniuses with their minds in motion could solve them without cheating. It wasn't until I was an adult that I learned that it's just a matter of practice, learning the pattern and developing the muscle memory. I think making art can be a lot like that too." This is where most players start seeing those colored highlights, and they recognize that those are the things that are pointing you to the next step. They also recognize that that color is associated with the next lock and key that they're looking for. For this one, they're looking for a book called Minds in Motion, which happens to be my elementary school yearbook from the mid-90s. Once they find the book, they see that it has a blue lock, which they don't yet have a key for, but conveniently enough, there's a little page that's sticking out from the top of the book that they can easily grab and read. That diary entry says, "I was always a lonely kid, but the Center for Creative Learning was my weekly chance to be surrounded by other kids like me. I doodled and daydreamed all the time. I guess it isn't surprising that one of my first indie art projects as an adult was a webcomic of doodles about friendship and love." The little flower at the end of the diary entry is the subject of my old webcomic from the 2010s, Une Petite Fleur. Once players find the pink framed drawing of the first ever comic panel, they find that the back of the frame is locked with a pink lock. They can use the pink key that they found in the question block to unlock it and find another diary entry. And when they pull out that diary entry, it also reveals, ta-da! Another NFC chip to scan. Scanning this NFC is a fun one. All the lights go dark, then light up bright pink to lead you into my workshop where my robot vacuum cleaner turns on, backs out, and beeps 4 times. As it's backing out of the dock, it reveals a 4 of Rods tarot card. The HTML page that triggers this automation also shows the 4 of Rods, so it's just triple reinforcing that the pink combination code is 4. We're halfway there. Of all of them, this is the automation that makes people get the most excited about my smart home interactivity. It's just silly to have your robot vacuum hide a puzzle solution, and I am all about that kind of whimsy.
I feel like you automated your Roomba.
Thanks a lot.
If I was more patient and felt like getting more granular, I'd probably have programmed it to drive itself into the room where people are playing, but I'm way too lazy, and done is better than perfect. Good job, little buddy. So, getting back to the diary entry that was inside the pink frame, we find that it says, watching Pokemon inspired me to draw cartoons for the first time. I saved up for my very first Nintendo handheld so that I could play Pokemon. I haven't turned it on in years, though. I probably need to change the batteries. There are a few handheld consoles in the bookshelf, but this clue specifically is meant to lead to my old Game Boy Color, which also happens to be green, the color of the highlighted clues. Opening the battery hatch reveals, yeah, not batteries. It's a green key and a rolled up diary entry. That Game Boy isn't playing much anytime soon. That diary entry inside the Game Boy says, I played so many games as a kid. It was my main form of comfort and escape. As I got older, I used game design as a source of comfort too. I even designed my very first card game to help me cope with a frustrating situation I had at work. This leads them to my card game, Pass the Buck, a game of corporate responsibility management, which I self-published back in 2015. It's nestled in a stack of all the various published games I've worked on that I have on display, but once they grab it off the shelf, they find that it's secured by a green lock.
It's filled with secrets.
Fortunately, they just found that green key, so opening the game reveals the blue key, a diary entry, and a postcard from the game. The diary entry reads, I made so many games, but once it became my primary form of income, it was hard not to let it dampen my creativity. It's too easy to burn out and lose your spark. Sometimes I wanted to give up altogether and just ask someone else to figure it out for me. Then if you look at the back of the postcard, you see a sticker that looks like a playing card from the game that says, pretend you did your job, but instead get AI to do it by asking, hey, robot lady, what's the green code? The room goes dark, then fully green, like Matrix style, and the robot lady, of course, responds.
Are you really passing your work off to me? You get green when you add blue to yellow, you sweet little meat sack.
I do just want to note that this is a joke. I didn't use AI for this game or any of my indie projects. And I definitely don't encourage anybody to keep these little spy devices in their homes. It was just too silly to not make a joke out of.
You sweet little
meat sack.
How did you know my nickname?
So we now know that the green code is the sum of the blue code and the yellow code. And we have the yellow code, and now we have the blue key. So we can use that blue key to unlock that Minds in Motion book that we found earlier. Opening the front cover reveals a 5 of cups in reverse with a ribbon that takes you to a fun little surprise. It's me in 5th grade. So now we know the blue code thanks to this ancient tome, and now we've gotten a glimpse of the little dweeb that lives inside me. So now that we have the blue code, which is 5, and the yellow code, which is 3, we can add those together to get 8, which gives us the green code. Mathemagical! That's all the codes. So the final box to unlock contains the final page from the diary, which is actually a personal note written to the person who's playing the game to let them know how much they mean to me and how much they've inspired me.
Oh no.
I write a new note for everyone who plays because everyone has inspired my creativity in a different way, and I want them to know how grateful I am for that. This is my favorite part of the game, not just reflecting on how these relationships have changed who I am, but also seeing people realize that what I was leading them through all along and the reason that they were playing and the thing that they were trying to unlock was my shared memories with them.
I hate it.
And then everything in that box is for you.
Oh.
Under the note, I include a handful of photos from times we've hung out together and a few little trinkets that made me think of them.
And there's a dinosaur already! eraser.
This ultimately makes the whole puzzle a celebration of my relationship with whoever just played and what they mean to me, not just focused solely on me and my stuff. After they read the note and we walk down memory lane looking at all the pictures, the final step is for them to sign a little guest book so I can remember who all has played. It's really sweet, and it gives me a nice artifact to keep that reminds me of everybody who's had a chance to play, and it gives them an opportunity to reciprocate and write something back if they want to. This was such a fulfilling project to work on, especially as it evolved to become this beautiful celebration of friendship and creativity and inspiration and motivation. It helped me to capture and express the feelings that I've had in recent years, that I've felt a little locked out of my own creativity. This feeling of looking back at my past projects and worrying that I'm never going to be able to access that same level of excitement and passion. By going through and unlocking all of these old memories and old projects, through the game, my friends are actually opting in to help me rediscover myself and find that lost creative passion. And ultimately finding that my joy in life comes from friendships and talking about ideas, collaborating and being silly and whimsical and absurd together. This game is like both a metaphor for all that and the exact vehicle I needed to help me reconnect with what I was commenting on losing throughout the game. I genuinely didn't expect that. It was such a cathartic process for me, and I feel so much better for having made it. I'm so thankful that it gave me the opportunity to reflect on how important these friendships are to me and how I could express my gratitude to everyone for being in my life in this capacity. Like, as I was coming up with this design, it shifted quite a bit from being really technical and home automation heavy to being much more analog and tangible and straightforward, with interesting moments of surprise accented by the technology rather than being directly driven by it. But I think that made it a much more personal and human experience. That said, it doesn't take a lot of technical know-how to work on a project that lets you express yourself and helps you heal and helps you deepen the connections with the people that you have around you. If there's anything that you take away from this, it's that I want you to consider making art for the sake of making art. Do things that feel good, not for the money, but for the hell of it. Do it because you can. Do it because you want to. You'll thank yourself for it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support this and other projects that I do, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with folks that you think would appreciate it. I'd love to be able to continue sharing stories and insights from more of my other projects with you. Bye!